Giannis Antetokounmpo and the trade and all of that stuff, and how he only wants to play for the Knicks, and how he could be going full NBA psycho to get out and get to the one place that he wants to play, that is here in New York at the Garden with the New York Knicks. But then, of course, last night almost reminded me of the Kevin Durant thing when we wanted Kevin Durant, and then he ended up popping his Achilles. How about calf strain last night for Giannis Antetokounmpo in the game? And you always say calf Achilles, calf Achilles, calf Achilles.
100%.
And I don't think he was faking the injury to get out. It looked like he really did get hurt, so that's a factor. But interesting stuff. As we said, the only way he was going to get here is he went full NBA psycho, and it looks like he is doing that. We'll do this. We'll do football. Everybody else responded to the FAN rumors we'll get to at some point. Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention yesterday. I'm doing good, by the way. So I'm just wondering, are we walking into anything this morning? Did something happen around here that we don't know about? Is there other scuttlebutt? I mean, people are
I'll give you a quick rundown. People are like, want a quick rundown?
Yeah, sure, please.
All right, quick rundown. You heard yesterday what BT and Sal did right after our show. It was like a minute or two.
They did a good job. Very, very professional. Very, those guys are amazing. Love those guys, and I'm glad that they touched on it the way they did.
Absolutely, I agree with all of that. Sal made me laugh as he came on, and he was dealing with it in a humorous manner. I give him a lot of credit for that.
Now he knows how families of players and coaches who he once fired or traded feel. You know what I'm saying?
Well, true, yeah. I mean, there is that part of it.
Get the guy out of here! Okay.
He's got to go.
I'm going to go home and talk to my wife and kids. Oh, my God. They're crying. Got to talk them off the ledge. I thought it was very funny. But, that's the back end of the story that nobody really ever talks about when they talk about firing, or whether it be here or teams or anything.
Yes. Okay. So good job, BT and Sal, yesterday, put into a tough spot the day before. And then Evan did some sort of bit. I was actually in the car to hear this because I went to that New York sports luncheon yesterday.
Yep.
So I was sitting there with a couple salespeople, high-end salespeople.
High-end salespeople. They work within, what is that? What does that mean, high-end salespeople?
Well, I don't know. Like guys who aren't named Chris Mercandante, right?
Okay.
People above him.
Normal people.
Yeah, right. So, the heads of departments, I guess. So you had that and our big executive, and then Dave Sims was there, and Keith McPherson was there, and Keith Rad, who, by the way, funny guy, that Keith Rad. He's got something to him. I would have never really known by his play-by-play because it's just play-by-play, and he's good, but funny guy. Like the guy. Someone I could actually hang out with, and I don't say that a lot. I do not say that a lot, but good to see Keith before he's gone, and Dave and all that good stuff. But anyway, so I'm driving home from this New York sports luncheon where Jason Kelsey, you can't get away from Jason Kelsey. It's unbelievable. Even in person, I can't get away from the
Kelseys or the Mannings. I mean, they're dominating media from a promotional standpoint, endorsement standpoint, marketing standpoint.
Yeah, so he gets an award.
Creativity. Oh, he was there.
Yeah, he was there. He gets an award. Part of this whole deal with March of Dimes, done a wonderful job. Him and his wife spoke and everything. So, hats off to them.
She's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah. No, she's good. It's funny, though, because last year at this time, there was an article written about how her podcast was bigger than Joe Rogan's. And I came on the air and slammed it, and then the New York Post wrote about it. It said, Greg Giannotti slams Kelly, whatever her name is. Kelsey. What's her name? Kelly Kelsey? I don't know. And so it was
you did slam her, though.
Well, I slammed the people that said that her podcast was more popular than Joe Rogan.
You weren't slamming her. You were slamming the people they're saying.
Right. It was there's no way it'd be popular. So I went and I looked up. So I know our big boss, the architect is pins and needles right now, everything going on. Yeah. I was like, let me see if I could, because she gets up there to talk, right? So I call up the article from last year, and I tried to convince him it was from today.
Yeah.
So I slide it over the table to him while she's talking. I'm like, oh, this is a bad day for this to come out. When he looks at the date, he's like, yeah, you didn't get me, you jerk. It was from a year ago.
I mean, he's having a tough time right now.
No, he's just whatever. But anyway, so I'm driving home and I'm listening to Evan and Tiki, and Evan decides he's teasing this thing to talk about it. So I'd gotten to the point where I'm in the car for 2 hours driving home because I left here at 2 o'clock, so it's a complete mess. He's teasing. I'm losing my mind. So I text Sean Morash. I'm like, what is he teasing? They kept saying, I'm going to talk about WFAN's rumors in a scientific way. And I'm like, in a scientific way? What? So I text Morash, and what is he talking about? And Sean goes, he won't tell us about it. He's like, I don't know. It's his thing. It's in his head. I don't know. So then he goes on, and his scientific way was, which I think was, My guess it was Fugazi. But he said that he put into Chat GPT, what do you think the fans want to ask each one of us about the WFAN new lineup or the rumors? This is what he said he put into Chat GPT, and then it had a question for Tiki, it had a question for Evan, it had a question for Loogie, it had a question for Morash. All right?
So this was his scientific investigation.
This was his scientific thing. But the questions were so specific in putting those guys in tough spots, I was like, there's no way Chat GPT would come up with that. And he gave Tiki a softball, of course.
Of course.
So, I was like, this was just his way, which is clever, it's different. But it was his way of asking these questions and pretending it wasn't coming from his brain.
Where did I come from, Mommy and Daddy?
So they talked about it, and then he said that he alluded to the fact that he made the decision not to work with Craig because Craig left him, and now he's in a new relationship with Tiki Barber, and he doesn't want to break up that relationship.
That sounds familiar.
So that's what he said. You didn't have to move anywhere, though. That's a big part of it. You stayed right here.
I mean,
they are moving.
I know, but what I'm saying, though, is yes, okay, they are moving, which
Right.
I think was probably for their lives, it's probably better just given the time and the fact that he likes to go to all these games.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure his family is going to love having him around more and all that stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. He does live with his in-laws, and they probably are thrilled to have him around a little bit more, I would think. So anyway, so he said that, and then Tiki said that he had input on the lineup change, said that he had input like Jackson Dart with the new head coach. So he had input, and then also used the phrase, keep your hands off my damn show, or keep your damn hands off my show. So that's what he said about that, and then moving Evan. So those two are going to stay together. So that was really the thing. They asked Tommy who he'd rather work with, Craig or Evan. He never really gave an answer there.
I mean, the generational talent that he is, that was his moment to give an answer.
Yeah, and he said, both of you guys have been instrumental into my career,
Loogie!
Yeah, he was playing both sides. I don't know if he knows where he's going to be working, so he just didn't want to piss anybody off, I think. So, which might have been the smart play. Who knows? But and then Morash was asked if he's going to be working with Evan and Tiki. He said yes. So there you go. That's what you have. So that's, you're not walking into anything.
So, and I'm walking into anything. That's
you're all caught up.
Like nice little tight synopsis.
You're all caught up.
All right.
And by the way, since we're talking about the lineup, and I'll forget if I don't. Al Citron was doing the overnights. He dropped us off some gifts.
Yeah, he gave me a nice Ranger head pullover.
Yeah, Mitchell and Ness.
Mitchell and Ness, look at this bad baby right
He
here.
gave me a Vikings sweatshirt here.
Right, so
Beautiful Vikings, Mitchell and Ness.
Is that a suck up spot?
Could be. Potentially.
I mean, that's really nice. I mean, I wasn't expecting. I know I have to get him something, Al.
No.
What's the rules?
Remember, this might be a thank you a little bit later because you gifted him the Commander's helmet that was in here for the NFC Championship game.
Oh, nice.
Remember that?
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah, I remember
so
that. Yes.
he might be. That might be a big part.
Well, that's good that he did that. Then I appreciate that.
Right. Oh, here it is. Actually, in the note. Thank you for putting my name out there for the Commander's helmet. This is my way of showing thanks. Our team stink. There you go. Happy
his
holidays.
team was good last year.
Yeah, but this year he's saying he was just, But that's very nice.
Oh, yeah, very nice, very thoughtful of Al. That's very good. So
he still needs to work on hitting the post with that back time.
You know what? Since I have so much power around here, I'll go right into Olive's office and tell him how great Al Citron is.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you're not walking into anything there. But the Giannis stuff yesterday was really interesting, and then you end up having the calf injury last night, which adds a wrinkle into this thing for sure, especially what we've seen with these calf injuries and these Achilles, especially in the NBA with superstars.
Right, exactly. So they have until February 5th to work something out if they're going to trade him. And I'm talking about from the Bucks' perspective, not the Knicks just yet. But if he is, sat down with the Bucks and said, look, I think it's time. He came in here and just ran rabbit over the Knicks when they played here. Mm-hmm. So I think that was enticing for Knicks fans to see. The question would be, what would it take? And by the way, the Knicks had a chance to extend Karl Anthony Towns. They did not do that. I think he's highly motivated. I think he's playing a motivated brand of basketball right now because he doesn't want to be traded. He doesn't want to leave. he would have to be in the trade if they were going to trade for Antetokounmpo.
Well, that's another layer of this.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, like that, you're dealing with a lot of people's, feelings, and there are guys that read everything, see everything, that are on social media, and I think Karl Anthony Towns doesn't want to go anywhere, and he'll be able to sign a new 4-year extension at the end of this season, but this thing now is kind of really in a weird spot. If you are the Knicks, what would it take from the Knicks team right now, because they have no first-round picks or anything?
Well, yeah. So I did extensive research on this.
I love when you do research because I don't have to.
I did extensive research on this because it's super complicated, and
salaries and
I'm gonna try. I'm really gonna try not to get into the weeds here, but because the NBA, it's nuts. It's stupid.
What do they call
crazy.
it? Top tier? What are tier ones?
Aprons.
Aprons.
There's aprons.
We got aprons. Okay.
So the aprons are involved, but that's really more of a next year salary cap thing. So I'll kind of leave that alone for the time being. But let's just break it down in the most simplest terms, that the money has to match. In the off season, there's some wiggle room. You have time to figure it out. In season, the money has to match. And if you are going to propose a Karl Anthony Towns for Giannis Antetokounmpo trade and add like another player just to get up to Giannis's salary.
So Giannis is making more than Karl Anthony Towns.
Right. But not by a lot. So it would take maybe one more player.
But then the Bucks would need to really want that player.
Well, hold on. But this is where I'm getting to.
Could it be a multiple player trade?
Well, this is what I'm getting to.
Okay,
it's all
good.
right.
I love it.
Jeez,
All
my
right.
goodness, I told you. So if, let's just say it's based on the money and people are sitting here and Knicks fans in a dream world like, well, trade Towns and trade Deuce McBride and get Giannis for those two guys. The Bucks aren't doing that. There's no way. There is no way in hell they are making that trade. So forget about that. Now, is there a chance that it gets so crazy in Milwaukee that trade is done? I still think no, maybe 10%, but no. All right, so how does it work now? Does a 3-team deal happen where a team that has picks
Get the Nets involved.
gets involved, but then in that case, you're going to have to trade either OG Anunoby or Mikal Bridges. And I don't know if I want to do that. So is there a way where you're getting rid of Towns and keeping OG and Bridges? I don't know. I don't think there is. I really don't think that there is. So what you have to ask yourself is, if there is the clearest path to something that makes sense, would be Towns gone, OG gone, Giannis in, a third team sending picks to the Bucks, and the Knicks picking up a player who is similar to OG, making less money, that could come in and fit his role. That's the only way that the roster construction and the thing could work for everybody.
Yeah.
And it just seems really difficult.
Well, the interesting thing is that Giannis is a year older than Towns.
Yeah.
And he's making, $54 million this year, $58 million next year, and then it goes to 62 the year after. I mean, like, their contracts almost line up in terms of years. So he's in the mid-50s, and let's see, Karl Anthony Towns is right there with him.
Yeah,
53, 57.
But they're not making that deal one for one. They're just not.
I know they're not going to.
So it's just, that would be the most,
Karl, you're telling me that Giannis Antetokounmpo is 25% better than Karl Anthony Towns is?
I would say more. I'd say 30% better.
You're saying 30% better than Karl Anthony Towns is?
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, Karl Anthony Towns right now is third in defensive rebounds in the league. In points scoring, Giannis is fourth overall in the league.
Yeah, what's going on this year is opposed to what we know these guys could do in the postseason is all I need to know. I mean, you're going to tell me that Karl Anthony Towns is going to be a different player in the postseason, not do the dumb things we've seen. I've seen Giannis be an MVP of the league. I've seen Giannis win a NBA Finals as the best player on his team. So,
well, Giannis,
it's going to be tough
I mean, honestly, a little bit smaller than Karl Anthony Towns, right? And he plays more of a fluid game, which I'm sure Mike Brown would like. But, here we go. I thought we were hiring this coach to get this group of guys over the hump to win a championship, with the Celtics dealing with what they're dealing with, the Indiana Pacers dealing with what they're dealing with.
Yes, they did.
And so now all of a sudden, here we go. And I don't know whether the Knicks are entertaining any of this stuff. I haven't really heard anything from the Knicks that leads me to believe, although I'm cynical about this. This is all coming from the Giannis camp.
Yes.
Nothing's coming from the Knicks. But we're in New York. We all have microphones and pens, and everybody has an opinion. So that means it looks like the Knicks are interested. But how the hell do we know? Because I thought they were bringing in Mike Brown to get this group of guys, this group of players to the next level, and he's trying to do it by hoisting up three-pointers and changing the way that the team plays completely.
Yeah, I mean, I think absolutely you're right about all of that. That's what they were trying to do, because this Giannis thing is very, very difficult to figure out. So the Bucks and Giannis were playing this game about, should I stay, should I go? I'm not sure if I want to stay. We're not going to trade you. And in that time, when the Knicks were interested in him for all these years, they never got a good beat on it because the Bucks and Giannis could never really make a decision, and they stayed together. So in that time, they made two big trades. They traded for Karl Anthony Towns. They traded all their picks for Mikal Bridges. Now it's too late when Giannis is like, I want to go to the Knicks, because it's just not going to work. It would be like a humongous 3-team insane deal where we would be sitting here going, I'm not sure if the Knicks are better now because Giannis is on the roster, but we lost Mitchell Robinson, we lost Josh Hart, we lost OG Anunoby. You know what I'm saying?
I would say to Giannis, be careful what you wish for, because, if you come here, the pressure is going to be enormous. If you somehow force your way here, the pressure is going to be enormous. And then really, the Bucks don't have to do anything. But now that he's hurt and he's sitting they're going to end up losing some more games and more games and more games. And, they're going to keep dropping and keep dropping and keep dropping. And maybe by the time February comes rolling around, end of January comes rolling around, they're at a point where they're just disgusted and frustrated, and they just want to go ahead and move them.
Yeah.
I mean, that and then how many other teams other than the Knicks are going to be involved? And I guess he could say, I don't want to go somewhere.
Well, I mean, yeah, so you had a couple guys yesterday, Shams and others, and Brian Windhorst talking about it's really only been the Knicks that he wants to go to now.
But so and again, that's only from his court.
Right. Yeah.
We haven't heard anything from, is Leon Rose actually, he's still around?
Yes, he's still around.
Have you heard from him?
No, he's Glenn Sather-like, operating in the shadows.
I kind of guess it's kind of smart. I mean, he's done a pretty good job. He's got he's assembled a really good team.
Yeah, he has.
I mean, their championship. They're not as good as OKC. I don't know if they're as good as Denver. I don't know if they're, Cleveland will be a handful to play against. Detroit's going to be a handful to play against. Orlando already showed you what kind of situation the problems they pose.
Yeah, it's really tough. I wish there was a magic world in which you could do this Karl Anthony Towns, Giannis Antetokounmpo deal, but if that happens, then, the happiest man in the world will be a fired Nico Harrison, because then the worst trade in the history of the NBA will no longer be his. That's the way I feel about it, because I don't think that they're doing that.
Giannis has got 5 more years at all-pro level?
I do. Yes, I do. Now, I understand he's had his injuries, sure. Karl Anthony Towns is a guy who could miss some time, too. I am, but it's not. You're saying 5 years? Sure. We're talking windows, man.
We're talking windows
right now.
We're talking
windows. And if you are like me, where I'm still highly skeptical about Karl Anthony Towns being on a Knicks championship team, then you try to do this. But the problem is, you're going to have to trade other players that are championship players in order to get him, and it's almost, it's your classic rob Peter, pay Paul spot, right?
Exactly, and maybe Giannis coming here, then the Knicks turn into what the Bucks are right now. I mean, that's the problem.
100% right.
But I almost feel like I want this group of guys with this coach to see if they can do it. And then you worry about it in the offseason.
Well, see, I think this
if they can't do it, then you do it in the offseason, then you change the way that you do things.
Well, do me a favor, though. It's going to be tough because also Giannis's contract in this thing is another factor in this.
Well, Karl Anthony Towns has got almost a very similar contract.
I'm not talking about the money right now. I'm talking about the years too, because he's under contract this year, then he's under contract next year, and then he's got a player option. These guys never pick up their player options, right?
They'll have to give him an extension. Just like it's the same thing as Karl Anthony Towns. It's in the same situation,
right? So.
That's why you would swap those two players in some sort of deal that would make sense, but the Bucks would want more.
So now that brings into a conversation: do other teams get involved to have Giannis as a rental for a season and a half, and then he goes to the Knicks in free agency at some point in a couple of years? Will they have the money to do that? That's another factor in this whole thing. Plus, if you look at Mikal Bridges...
Can I ask you just one question?
Sure.
Give me one team in the NBA that really likes to help facilitate the Knicks' needs. Can you give me one?
Brooklyn?
No. Not a chance in
hell. They
hell.
facilitated the Knicks' needs.
Well, no, they got 4 number 1 picks for Mikal Bridges.
It still facilitated their needs.
Yeah, but it also facilitated their own needs. They wanted it because they knew they weren't going anywhere. And, Sean Marks is in a total rebuilding.
All right, so what do you think?
Maybe since Giannis wants to come to New York, maybe, Sean Marks is going to, go after him.
I would if I were Sean Marks. But what team is facilitating the Knicks' needs?
None. There's no such animal in the NBA. Everybody hates the Knicks.
Yeah. No,
you know that. I know that. We feel it.
Right, but they still have made trades.
They love the Lakers for some reason, but they hate the Knicks.
Yeah, no, it's true. I do agree, but there's still, in a world where a player goes full NBA psycho, that player wants to go to a certain place, there's been more times than not that it has worked out. But I just don't see how this one can without...
So you feel like he's pulling a LeBron James right now?
No, because LeBron was always free agency. He's pulling a James Harden right now is what he's doing.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Okay.
He's pulling a James Harden, but just not quite as nuts. He's working at a 60% capacity of a full James Harden cycle.
Do you think the Knicks should take a look at CP3?
Hey, yeah, I saw that. I saw people talking about that. I don't know where he's at, man. I just don't. I don't. It's a weird thing. And
you need like 7 minutes a game from him.
Yeah,
then he's unhappy.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably not. But, yeah, so where I stand with this is if it's going to get done, it's going to be a huge shakeup to this roster. It's not going to be a one-for-one. And he's also now hurt with a calf injury that we've seen has turned into Achilles for Kevin Durant,